Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Houston Sharpshooters Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 22. So in last episode, we simulated the season, and we have made the playoffs for the very first time in franchise history, which is really exciting. I don't know what this team is going to be able to do, though, because we are going up against a very tough Chicago team that won 57 games, while we just barely squeaked into the playoffs with 40 wins, 33 losses, and 9 overtime losses. So basically, we went up by like 10 wins by compared to last season, but I'm very excited to see what this team could do in the playoffs because obviously we have no experience in the playoffs before, so a lot of these guys are going to get their first taste of playoff action, and hopefully some of them do pretty successful. But anyways, as I was mentioning, we are going to be taking on a very tough Chicago team, which is going to be definitely a tough task for this young team, but it should give us some experience at least going into future years, and hopefully it turns our team into a better contender for next season and whatnot, because I feel like I don't know if we're going to even win a game in this series, but if we somehow pull off the upset, I feel like it could happen because we could be the cheese team that knocks out a good team, because Chicago had like Igor Shesterkin as their goalie, I think, and I believe he was probably one of the goalies that could win the Vezina this year, so it makes sense if we can knock out Chicago, but at the same time it doesn't make actually any logical sense, so should be interesting to see nonetheless if we could beat them though. Anyways, before we get into this first round matchup, we do have a few comments to go over, and then also we're going to go over their lines again just in case you guys forget, and I will show you guys our lines going into the playoffs as well just in case you forgot about that. So the first comment is from Half Silly. He says, I think I'll do my own draft to glory as well. This offseason during the draft / free agency, I would focus on getting some top 4, top 6, and top or 7th D-men and some top 6 / top 9 or bottom 6 forwards because the depth is really weak on both forward and D cores. We don't need to worry about goalies at all long term as long as Soderstrom is developing well, which I agree with. We don't really need any more goaltenders because at the moment, if we look at our entire system, as you can see, Soderstrom's an 82. We could sign this guy like long term if we really want to, because we don't really want to have a goaltender that's maybe like 86 plus. But basically, we could keep replacing our backup because Janssen's not really that great of a goalie. But we do have some goalies in the system we could use if we need to, and we also have guys that are pretty much unsigned at the moment, like Benson, who could eventually become a starting goalie at some point. So yeah, we do have a lot of goalies. We don't really need any more of them. He was mentioning we need probably more depth in terms of defense and forwards, which I agree with. We do have some good ones in the system, but a lot of them are not developing as fast as I would like to. Like the best one probably would be this lowly defenseman. So other than that, though, we definitely could use some more defensive prospects. Blacker eventually could make it to the NHL. I hope he does, because he's a very solid offensive defenseman. So we have him down there as well, and a couple other like unsigned guys and whatnot. So hopefully some of those D-men get some good growth throughout the next few seasons, and hopefully some of them can get in. If not, we will have to draft more of them. And same goes with like forwards. We do have some forwards down there in the minors that could eventually crack our bottom 6, like Sidor could be in the lineup next season just to replace one of the older guys, and so on and so forth. Same with Ferraro. The next comment is from Jake Barabo. He says, "Playoff time, baby. Thanks to you, I'm starting my own draft to glory. You're awesome and been a great series. Great watching this series. Thank you, Jake. I really appreciate that. And also, yeah, draft to glories are a ton of fun. I'm really having a lot of fun with this series, just because going from like pretty much like basically not making the playoffs and not even getting like 10 wins to getting 40 wins and making the playoffs is pretty gratifying. So it's a lot of fun doing a draft to glory, and maybe I'll do more of these down the road." We'll have to see, because I might have to do some throwback franchise modes sometime this year as well. And our final comment is from HawksFan88. He says, "Playoff time, let's go, guys." And I agree also with that, because hopefully we could actually win this playoff series. It's going to be a really tough task. Obviously, like I was saying, we have no experience whatsoever, but maybe that will give us a little bit of a psychological edge over the Blackhawks. So let me show you guys what the Blackhawks look like, and I'll show you guys our lines again just in case you forgot. And then we will get into this first ever playoff game in franchise history. But basically, Chicago has some interesting winger like decisions. I don't know what they're trying to do. As you can see, they have Balsers, Jones, Duclair, and Tippett all in their top 6, which I don't know why they have them there when they could basically put up Campoli, Thomas, and Bertuzzi, who are all way better wingers. But I guess they're just going off chemistry or something like that. But other than that, though, they have a really good forward core. Their center depth is really nice as well, so you can see why they won 57 games. And then defensively, they're also pretty solid, but they're a little bit weak, but they're better than us, obviously, because we're still a draft the glory team after all. And goalie-wise, they are definitely better than us. As Igor Shesterkin had, I believe, yeah, he had an insane season with 8 shutouts, a 924 save percentage, and a 2.1 goals against average. So I think he might end up winning a Vezina this year, and he's had some really crazy seasons as of late. If we can knock them out in the first round, I would be surprised. But Igor is actually 34 already, so he might be downgrading soon. And yeah, he hasn't had some good playoff stats since last year, I guess, or 27-28, so 2 years ago. He won a Stanley Cup in New York, and he almost won one in Chicago. So he's been to 2 Stanley Cup finals before. He knows what it takes to win in the playoffs, and that is a little bit scary. Also, their depth is just all defensemen, so I don't know if they're going to play one of them as a forward if there's an injury to any of their forwards. But anyways, that is their lineup, and let me show you quickly our lineup again, but you guys probably know our lineup by now. As you can see, we got Thornton, Jaskalainen, and Kapitanov, Morales, Burns, and Sidu, Forster, Pasquale, and Goldobin, and Lannon, Tursenbayev, and Korostin. So pretty interesting there. We could always make some line changes if we need to, and like move Sidu up, that type of thing, but we have some pretty good chemistry. As for defense, we got Teratukin and Hedman, Yip and Turris, and then Sedin, who's up to an 82. So honestly, Sedin could jump up into the top 4 if I really want to. And we also have Reed Roach. And in our goaltending is Soderstrom and Janssen. So if Soderstrom doesn't really play that good in the playoffs, we could always just throw in Janssen because it really doesn't matter which goalie we use in the playoffs. We just want to find the one that could get us to a Stanley Cup regardless of overall. Like, we don't honestly call up some guys from the AHL if we really wanted to too, but I'm not going to do that, I don't think. So anyways, that is that. Let's get into our first ever playoff matchup. We have a back-to-back in Chicago, which is going to be a tough way to start the series, but if we can take at least one of these 2 games, I'll be definitely happy. I'll be happy if we could take 1 game of the series in total, because I think going up against a tough team like Chicago, 1 win is not even guaranteed almost. So let's see what happens in our first ever playoff game. Who's going to score our first ever playoff goal as we are in the United Center. First period, and we have scored 4 goals in our first ever playoff period. That is impressive. Very impressive. We're up 4-3 after 1, so forget about goaltending. Igor Shesterkin, the goaltender that just won the Vezina probably, just had a terrible first period. But Soderstrom didn't do that good either. So Sidu scores, Jaskalainen scores, Sidu again scores. So we have 2 power play goals in that opening period. And then Radish scores, and then Thornton score. We went up 4-1 at one point, but Thomas and Chaika with late goals, and it's a 4-3 game. The shots are 13-10 in favor of them, but we have 4 goals on 10 shots, so we're making, we're scoring on our opportunities at least. Second period, damn, we're up 6-4. Damn, no goaltending in this game. Gene Thornton's got a hat trick, I think. Wow, okay. Thornton's got a hat trick in our first ever playoff game, and we have 6 goals in our first ever playoff game. I feel like we're going to win this game because we're scoring a lot of goals, and then in the next few games we're just going to, like, our offense is not going to be there at all. Because I've had that type of thing happen before. But Dean scores to tie the game up, and then Thornton scores 2 unanswered goals. Both of them are like 2 minutes apart as well. Shots are 20-16 in favor of the Blackhawks, but we have 6 goals on 16 shots. And also, looks like Shesterkin got pulled, so Connor Ingram is now in. Let's see what happens here in the third, see if we can lock this one down. Please do not lose 7-6, because I've seen that happen in simulations before as well. But pretty crazy game so far. Thornton's got a hat trick, and who was the other one? There was somebody with 2 goals. Sidu had 2 goals, right? I think. And then I don't remember who scored the other goal. There you go. Hedman scores his first ever playoff goal to make it a 7-4 game. And that is going to be your final as we win our first ever playoff game by a score of 7-4. Somehow just barely making it into the playoffs and then destroying a 57-win team with 7 goals on 21 shots. That's pretty impressive. I don't think that's going to continue into Game 2, because obviously Shesterkin should bounce back, but who knows. So, Sidu from Burns, Jaskalainen from Sidu and Kapitanov, Sidu from Jaskalainen and Thornton, Thornton from Kapitanov and Yip. So, it looks like our top 6 is pretty much just going off. And then Thornton again from Jaskalainen and Kapitanov, Thornton from Kapitanov and Jaskalainen, and Hedman from Morales and Sidu. I feel like a lot of guys had like 5 points in that game. Let's take a look. So, Jaskalainen and Sidu, Thornton, and Kapitanov, all 4 points in their playoff debut. That's actually insane. And then a couple of guys with 1 point. But that is a very impressive debut for our top 6. and exactly what we needed. A lot of plus guys as well. Turris was a +4 in that game, so even though he's a 73 overall, he's still playing pretty good. And then, yeah, Soderstrom was a little bit rough, but at least we won the game. I'm kind of curious on Chicago's stats. Couple minus players, and man, yeah, their goaltending was terrible. 3 goals on 6 shots for Igor Shesterkin, and then Ingram came in and allowed 4 goals on the next 15. Yikes. I thought their goaltending was supposed to be good, but I guess not. So Thornton gets first star with the hat trick, Sea-Doo the second star with 2 goals and 2 assists, and Jaskeline the third star with a goal and 3 assists. But what a playoff debut for this team. Hopefully we can keep it up in the game too, and hopefully our offense doesn't run dry, because I have seen that happen, like I said before, where you just score a bunch of goals in game 1 and then your team just cannot score again, and then you eventually get eliminated in like 5 games. So hopefully that is not the case for us. Game number 2, still in Chicago. Let's see what happens here in the first period. I feel like it's going to be a lot more quiet than last game, but who knows. First period, and it's 1-1. I'll take that. Cam Poley scores for them on the power play, and Sam Sea-Doo scores again on the, not on the power play, but near the end of the period. It's 1-1 after 1. The shots again are in their favor, 15-8. So we're constantly being outplayed in terms of shots, but we're scoring on our opportunities, and that's giving us a chance to win games, which is good. Second period, and we're up 2-1. Let's go. Sea-Doo again on the power play. Damn, Sam Sea-Doo is actually coming through here. Because in the regular season, like I said, I haven't really been sold on his stat line, because he's been putting up like 50 to 60 points. But to start off his first ever playoffs with like 5 points in 2 games, or 6 points in 2 games, that's unreal. Like, our top 6 is literally killing it so far. But then again, if we get to the second round, it's probably just going to go eventually all dry, and it's not going to be there anymore. But who knows? Third period underway. Let's see what happens and see if we can add some insurance. There's one from Teratukin to make us have a 3-1 lead. Let's go. I'm really surprised that we're managing to go up so good against a 57-win team, but like I said, we just barely made the playoffs. We're technically the cheese team, and we might end up knocking out a team that could have won the President's Trophy. So Sea-Doo scores again to make it 4-1, and we're going to win our second ever playoff game. We are undefeated in our playoff history so far. 4-1 final. The shots were 31-30 in favor of us as well, so we came back in shots as well, which is good. Let's take a look at those events. So goals. So Sea-Doo from Sedin and Morales, Sea-Doo from Teratukin, and Jaskeline. Now, yeah, Sea-Doo had a hat trick. So back-to-back playoff games with a hat trick for our offense. I don't think I've ever seen that happen before in the playoffs, where 2 different guys get hat tricks to start the playoffs before. But Teratukin from Korostin and Sea-Doo from Turris. So yeah, our top 6 has definitely been scoring goals, and Sam Sea-Doo seems like a playoff beast. 3 goals, so he's now got 7 points in 2 games, I think, if my math is right. Teratukin also had 2 points. Pretty solid. Any minus players on our team? Nope. And goaltending-wise, Janssen played apparently 0 seconds, but he made 1 save, which I don't get. Unless Soderstrom got injured with 1 second left, but it doesn't say that he even played a second. That's a little weird. Must be a glitch. But a really good performance from Soderstrom in that one. Bouncing back from that game where he allowed a lot of goals. So Sea-Doo the first star, Soderstrom the second star, and Teratukin the third. But we have a 2-0 series lead. We've won both games in Chicago, which is pretty impressive, outscoring them 11-5. And now we head home for our inaugural playoff game on home ice. The Houston fans are excited to see what this team is made of. Hopefully we do not let them down here. Let's just get into game number 3. Since our team has been playing good so far, we don't need to make any line adjustments. First period of game 3, and we're down 2-1. Okay, I'll take that, I guess. Balcers and Radish score for the Blackhawks, but Pasquale has a goal for us, so that's good to see that our depth is actually showing up, because our top 6 has been pretty much main cause of our offense so far in the series. Shots are 11-7 in favor of the Blackhawks, but we're down by a goal. Second period, then we have tied the game back up, and it's Pete Pasquale again. Loving it. Pete Pasquale's got 2 goals in this game. The shots are 24-18 in favor of the Blackhawks. It is a 2-2 game going into the third. Let's see if we could take the lead here. Pasquale's been scoring goals. We just need our top 6 to score. If Pasquale scores another goal, we literally had 3 hat tricks to start this round, which would be nuts, because I don't think that's ever been done before, but I don't think Pasquale's going to score again. But if he does, that'd be insane. Final 5 minutes here in regulation. Are we going to our first playoff overtime game? Yes, we are. And it's been another good performance from Soderstrom. He's made 33 saves so far, going into OT. We only have 24 shots, so we definitely need to get some more opportunities here in OT if we can. Let's see what happens in our first ever overtime game in Houston. Can we win this game? Penalty kill. 5-on-3 penalty kill. Nicely done. We almost got into penalty trouble there to start OT. Come on, boys. Who wants to be that hero? And they're going to score. God damn it. Owen Tippett scores, and we lose, unfortunately, in overtime. They outplayed us completely in that game. 44-25 the shots. We are lucky to get that to overtime to an extent. But it's a 2-1 series now for us, which means the home team has yet to win a game. Pasquale from Forster and Turse, and Pasquale from Goldobin and Sea-Doo. So Sea-Doo continues his point streak to 3 games now in this playoffs. Pasquale got first star, Tippett the second star, and Zach Dean the third. Interesting. Okay, so it's a 2-1 series. I don't think I'm going to make any changes yet to our lineup just because we still have the series lead, of course, and we were very close to winning that game. Hopefully we can win a game on home ice still in this playoff round because that would be nice to give our fans a little thing to cheer about going into next season and whatnot. So here we go, game number 4. Can we win our first home playoff game and take a 3-1 series lead here? Come on, boys. First period, we're up 1-0. I'll take that. Teratukin scores late in the period with 16 seconds left, and we're out shooting him 12-7 after 1, which is a good sign. Hopefully we can score a little bit more goals, though, but then again, they are running Igor Shesterkin, who should be a good goalie, but really crapped the bed in the first few games. Second period, still 1-0. I love that. 1-0 us. Shots are 19-19, so it's an even game so far pretty much, but we're up by 1 goal, so Soderstrom seems to be a pretty good playoff goalie for the most part. Let's see what happens here in the third period, see if we can get some more insurance. No, we cannot. Zach Dean ties the game up, and Thomas gives them the lead. That's not good. The home team is not winning any games in the series so far, it seems like. Can we tie this game up, please, boys? Our offense is kind of running dry lately since the first 2 games. Okay, there we go. Gene Thornton ties the game up. He hadn't scored since game 1 where he had a hat trick. And then Zach Dean, of course, gives them back the lead. God damn it. And that's going to be the final. We lose by 1 goal in regulation, 3-2 again. And the Blackhawks have tied this series up, which is pretty scary. So Teratukin from Kapitanov and Jaskalainen, and Thornton from Jaskalainen and Kapitanov. So our top 6 has been phenomenal so far. But other than that, our depth scoring has not really been there. And Soderstrom has been pretty good in the playoffs so far, I think. But we are going to make some line adjustments because we've dropped 2 games in a row. But yeah, Sea-Doo's got 8 points in 4 games. He's been pretty damn good so far. But we are going to make some line adjustments. So I think we're going to move Korostin up since he's a better overall. And then, can we do anything interesting here? Yeah, we're going to move Sea-Doo up since Sea-Doo's been putting up a lot of points as of late. And then we'll put Kapitanov. Yeah, Kapitanov on the second line with Burns and Morales instead. So basically just flip the top 6 out a little bit. And then Korostin being there. Defensively, any minus defenseman, the top pairing, pretty much. So I think what we could do is move Turse up, move Yip up. There you go. And split up Hedman and Teratukin. Maybe that's a little bit too offensive. And then Turse and Roach, that's good with me. And yeah, Soderstrom's been fine so far. But if he drops the ball for some reason, we could always try Janssen. I think that's good. Any really badly minus players on this bottom 6? Not really. Okay, so that's the little changes we're going to make going into game number 5. As like I said, the home team has yet to win a playoff game so far, so hopefully that stays true to this game, because then that would mean we would win this game in Chicago. But it's going to be very tough, obviously, because now they're on a 2-game winning streak. But here we go, game number 5 in Chicago. Can we take a 3-2 series lead here, or are we going to drop 3 straight games? First period, scoreless, I'll take that. Shots are 10-7 in favor of the Blackhawks, but Soderstrom, again, has been pretty good so far. Second period, and we're up 3-1. Let's go. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Korostin scores, so moving him from the 4th to the 3rd line helped. Veleno scores to tie the game up, but then Kapitanov scores in a short-handed goal from Forster. You love to see that. Shots are 22-18 in favor of us, and we're up by 2 goals. Let's see if we could lock this one down here in the 3rd. Kapitanov makes it 4-1. I love that. That's a good way to start the period. Jaskalainen scores a short-handed goal, so 2 short-handed goals from our boys in this game. It's a 5-1 game, so we're playing like we did in game 1, which is a good sign. Hopefully we play like that in the next game as well on home ice. We're up 5-1, and we are going to be taking a 3-2 series lead on the Chicago Blackhawks, and we have a 57-win team by the balls, and we could knock them out pretty much with the next punch. So Korostin from Pasquale, Kapitanov from Morales and Burns, Forster from Roach and Yip, Kapitanov from Morales and Sedin, and Jaskalainen from Morales and Hedman. 3 stars in that game, Kapitanov, Morales, and Forster. So seems like putting Kapitanov onto that second line as well helped him a bit. So I think those line changes definitely helped us out. Any minus players in that game, I would doubt it. Yeah, none. And a very good performance again from Soderstrom. That's good to see that Soderstrom seems to be doing good in the playoffs, because sometimes you just have those elite goalies that do not do good. I mean, he's only an 82 overall, though, so... Okay, so we have a 3-2 series lead. The home team has still never won a game in the series, so if we could win one here and knock the Blackhawks out of the playoffs, we'd be the first team to win on home ice. So let's see if we could win a game on home ice to close out the series. That'd be pretty awesome, just for our fans to get our first glimpse in the playoffs of us going to the next round. First period, 1-1 after 1, I'll take that. Bertuzzi scored on the power play for them early, but Sidu has scored again. Loving Sidu's playoff performance. Maybe he's just a playoff kind of guy, like a JG Pageau type of idea. Shots are 14-7 in favor of us, but it is a 1-1 game. Second period, and that is not what I wanted to see. Bertuzzi scores and Veleno scores, so a couple former Red Wings. And we're down 3-1 going into the third, but we are still outshooting them 23-21. If we're going to want to win this game, we're definitely going to need some early goals here in the third period, because if we do not, we're going to be going to a Game 7 situation in Chicago, where Chicago is going to be looking to win their first home game of the series. So let's see what happens here in the third. See if we can get back in this game. There's a power play chance early, and we do not convert. Penalty kill, and we score another short-handed goal. That's our third short-handed goal in the last 2 games. That one's from Jaskalainen again. It's a 1-goal game. Can we tie this game up? Power play opportunity. We do not score. Final 5 minutes. Come on, boys. Let's tie this one up, please. Oh man, Bertuzzi scores the hat trick, and we're gonna lose 4-2 in Game 6, and we're going to a Game 7, which is kind of scary. But Bertuzzi got a hat trick for them, so that means there's been 3 hat tricks in this first round, which is kind of nuts between the both teams. So Sidu 6 from Thornton and Jaskalainen from Morales and Teratukin. At least our top 6 is getting a lot of experience in putting up points in the playoffs. Minus players, there's only 4 of them, which is like the third line, I think, or maybe the penalty killers, I don't know. And then there's the goaltending stats. Not a great game from Soderstrom. That's probably his worst playoff game so far. So Jaskalainen got 3rd star, Shesterkin the 2nd, and Bertuzzi the 1st with a hat trick. Not a surprise. Do we want to make any line adjustments going into Game 6? Because the home team has yet to win a game so far, and if that trend continues, we will knock out Chicago in 7. But I feel like Chicago could honestly beat us in 7 games, so I don't know. Do we want to make any adjustments? Don't think so. Maybe I'll take Lannon out of the lineup, because he's done really nothing so far. And then we could give an opportunity to a better overall player like Zubov, if he has chemistry down there. And we could always try it. His face-off 74. Yeah, you know what? We're going to just try him on there. Why not? Just give a little bit of an overall boost to our team, maybe. And I think that's pretty much how we'll do it. Soderstrom's stats are not too bad, but I don't want to put in Janssen for Game 7. I don't trust the 77 at all. But I think that's good. Yeah, I think that's good. We're going to go into Game 7 with those small little changes. And we'll do a real-time simulation and see if we can win our first ever playoff series. If we have a chance to do so, I might let you guys watch like the final few minutes of the Game 7 just to see us win a series. But if we don't have a chance to, there's no point really. But eventually I want to show you guys a little bit of gameplay so you guys can see those jerseys out on the ice and stuff like that. But anyways, let's get into Game 7 and see what happens here. See if we could win another game on the road like we've done so far. Because we're 3-0 on the road, but we've yet to win a home game. And Seth Jones scores early, which is not good to start this Game 7. But at least even if we lose this series, we've been getting some pretty good experience against some very tough teams, so I like that. But Gene Thornton ties the game up. Let's go. It's a 1-1 game here in this first period. Love to see that. Gene Thornton in that top six in general has been phenomenal so far in the playoffs. Like, I really like how they're simulating playoff-wise, because regular season-wise has been solid, but it's been bouncing around. But playoff-wise so far, the top six has been amazing. So it's 1-1 after one. The shots are 10-9 in favor of the Blackhawks. Let's see what happens here in a second. See if we could get that lead. Come on, boys. Who wants to score for us? Morales, I don't know if you've scored really that much goals. And Balcers gives them the lead. God damn it. That's not good. Come on, boys. Let's tie it back up again. Jaskalainen, you've scored some shorthanded goals lately. Maybe Kapitanov. Who do we want to call on? And Max Jones might have delivered a dagger there. We're down 3-1 here in a second. But Korostin has other options. And it's a 3-2 game now. And we're within one going into the third. The shots are 20-18 in favor of the Blackhawks. So, once again, not a great game from Soderstrom, but we are within one. Can we tie this game up in the third, or are we going to be losing the series in 7 games? Let's see what happens here. Come on, boys. Who wants to be that hero? Sidu? I don't know. Somebody. Penalty kill. Nicely done. Is this going to be another 1-goal game? No, it's not. Larson makes it 4-2, and that's probably going to do it. Yep, that's going to do it. Bertuzzi makes it 5-2, and we're unfortunately going to lose in 7 games to the Chicago Blackhawks in the first round. But, I mean, taking a 57-win team to 7 games in our first ever playoff round is pretty damn impressive. And then our top 6 was really impressive as well. So, just our defense kind of struggled the last few games, but it is what it is. Definitely we're going to be a better team next year because a lot of our guys are going to get some good growth from that experience and all that. But pretty successful playoffs for the most part, even though we didn't win the round. So Thornton from Sidu and Teratukin, and Korostin from Teratukin and Pasquale is our only goals. There's the 3 stars, just in case you want to take a look at that. Any badly minus players in that game? Out of curiosity, yes. Hedman and Sedin are a -4 combined. Damn. And in that line change where I put in Zubov into the lineup, I don't know if that was a good idea. He was a -3. Yikes. That is not good. So maybe I shouldn't have thrown Zubov into the lineup. Maybe I should have kept Lanin in. Maybe I made a controversial change at the worst time possible. But we lose in 7 games. Let's take a look at our player stats for the playoffs, and then we'll sum up to the awards and all that. And I'll show you guys the draft class and stuff like that, and we'll do a end of the year recap. So let's take a look at our player stats for the playoffs, see who did what. So, Jaskalainen, 10 points in 7 games. He was really good. He had a couple shorthanded goals, 1 power play goal as well, and 10 points, which is nice. Pasquale was not too bad, 4 points in 7 games. Definitely take that from a guy that's only a 79. Burns, 2 assists. Burns was really quiet, but then again, he is only in his 2nd season, so it kind of makes sense that he's a little bit quiet. But hopefully Burns could be a little bit better next year in the playoffs if we get there. Because only 2 assists is not great enough, especially being in that top 6 where a lot of the offense was happening. Zubov had nothing in 1 game, and he was a -3, which is terrible. And yeah, Tursunbayev was quiet, so we definitely need our depth scoring to improve a bit. Left wing wise, Sudi was also really good, 10 points in 7 games, 6 goals, 4 assists. Yeah, he was a really good player for us in the playoffs. Like I said, regular season wise, he's kind of bounced around, but so far in the playoffs, he's a good player. And then Thornton was 7 points in 7 games. He was also really solid. Morales was actually pretty good, but he scored no goals, which is kind of weird, but he's more of a passer, so it kind of makes sense, I guess. Forster, only 2 points, is kind of quiet, but he's more of a grinder, so it kind of makes sense. Right wing-wise, Kapitanov was good, 8 points. Korostin, 3 points. And in Goldobin, 1 assist, and Lanin had nothing. Goldobin was really bad, plus-minus as well, so he's definitely one of those guys we need to replace with somebody in the minors, I'd assume. Defensively, Teratukin was really good, 6 points in 7 games, but the rest of the defense was kind of quiet. Yip and Turris were really good plus-minus wise, but Sedin and Hedman were pretty quiet offensively, and Roach had nothing pretty much except for assist. Goalie-wise, Soderstrom was not terrible, but he wasn't great near the end of that series, but he was good in some games, so I'll definitely take that. So, as you can see, most of the offense was our top players, which makes a lot of sense. So we just need more depth scoring, I think, in order to beat teams like Chicago. Let me also take a quick look on how our power play did and stuff like that in the playoffs, because I'm kind of curious on that. Goals for per game wise, we were one of the best offensive teams in that first round, 3.43. But yeah, our goals against could improve, but it was still actually not that bad. Power play percentage definitely wasn't that good enough, apparently. Our power play wasn't that good. It was good in like the first game, but then it just struggled afterwards. Our penalty kill, though, was pretty solid, it looks like. We had 3 shorthanded goals in that first round, which is the best in the league. And yeah, we didn't win a single home game in the playoffs, which is kind of bad. But we were 3-1 on the road. Interesting. So that is that. Let's sim up until the draft just so we can see how the draft is situated, as well as who wins the Stanley Cup and all that. And the retirements, and that'll be it for this episode. I'll also show you guys the contract situation just because I can't remember who's up for renewal. So the Blue Jackets win the Stanley Cup this year. That's interesting. Let's take a look at that playoff tree briefly. So they beat the Anaheim Ducks. Interesting. So Chicago only got to round 2 against Winnipeg, which kind of sucks that we didn't lose to the best team, but it is what it is. Let's take a look at those awards. So Columbus the Cup. Chicago won the President's Trophy, so it was the best team that we lost to. And Anaheim Columbus. Matthews wins the Art Ross and the Hart. St. Dean wins the Norris. Barzal wins the Bing. Scarabelli wins the Calder. Sillinger the Conn Smythe for Columbus for the second straight year, actually. Didn't realize that. So Columbus has back-to-back Stanley Cups. Igor wins the Vezina and the Jennings. Jet Wu wins the Masterton. Tanev for S is going to win the Jack Adams. So our coach won the Jack Adams. That's pretty impressive to see. Love to see that. William Eklund wins the Selke. I don't think I've ever seen him win the Selke before. Austin Matthews the Lindsay and the Richard. HL-wise, I don't think any awards for us down there. Yeah, nothing for us. Okay. So that is that. Now we got to find out the retirements and stuff like that, even though I don't think we're going to... Yeah, we don't lose anybody probably. Unless it's just the random AHL extra guy. So Detroit's going to have the first overall pick, followed by St. Louis, Montreal, Boston, and Nashville. And that is that. Retired players, just going to briefly skim through the top a little bit. So Nugent Hopkins is the best. Interesting. How about goalie-wise? The best goalies to retire: Darcy Kemper, Ullmark, Matt Murray, etc. Interesting. So those are the retirements. And Sean Couturier is now a coach. Interesting. Coach retirement-wise, obviously we're not going to lose Chris Tanev, which is good. And let's take a look at that draft class and the contract situation, and that'll be it for this episode. So we are going to be drafting where, though, first, because I don't actually know where we're drafting. We are going to be drafting at number 18 this year, which is definitely going to give us something good for our bottom 6 in terms of like a top 6 forward or something like that. So if we're drafting at number 18, we're probably looking at getting one of these type of players, maybe like Battaglia looks really good. Damn, I wish I could trade the move up. If Battaglia falls to us, Battaglia is definitely my choice, because he looks like he's going to be pretty solid. But there's Volchenkov, who's a high top 9, which might not be bad even though it's a high top 9 only. We'll pin a couple of these guys just in case. But yeah, the high top 9 might be the best pick. This might be a really weak draft. There's a top 6. We'll pin him. What's his name? Hayden Long. Interesting. Any potential players to pin out of curiosity, like low elites? Wait, let me just take a look at these guys that could be medium elite. Might be decent. Any low elites, though? That's where I'm kind of interested in. Yes, there is a guaranteed low elite gem defenseman that's supposed to go in round 2. Well, we've definitely found one of our picks that we want to get in Israel Goddard. 17 years old as well. This guy might be low elite, but he's older. So yeah, I think definitely Goddard's going to be one of our picks. Probably in the second round. Goalie prospect-wise, we don't really need goalies, so that is that. And let's take a quick look at just our contract situation and progress reports, and then that'll be it. A little bit of a long episode, but it is what it is. So up for renewal, we got Karostin, who's probably... he's pretty cheap, actually. Never mind. We'll probably bring him back because he's definitely somebody we could use in our bottom six. Same with Pasquale. Roach as well is going to need a new contract. And then Ferraro might want... yeah, Ferraro's going to want to play in the NHL. So that's interesting. But not a huge amount of big contracts up for renewal. And then we also have all these goalies as well. So those are who is up for renewal. Let's take a quick look at those progress reports, and then that'll be it. So modified wise, so looks like we are getting some good growth from Burns, who's up to an 84 now. Sedin's also growing. Ferraro's growing. Sador's growing. Yip is growing. You'll love to see it. But in the system, we're getting some growth from there. Any current overalls that are really high up. Parks is 74. Not bad. Shoots is up to a 73. That's that low elite. How about that medium elite defenseman we drafted in Blacker? He's up to a 68 at 20. I'll definitely take that. This guy might make the NHL soon. Maybe another few years out. And that is pretty much that. Goalie-wise, we are getting growth from that medium elite goalie, which is good, and from Park. But everybody else isn't growing anymore, which kind of sucks. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Houston Sharpshooters Drafted Glories. So it sucks that we lost our first ever playoff round, but I think we had a very good time getting some experience against a tough team. And hopefully we can make it back to the playoffs again next season, and hopefully we have a successful draft ahead and all that stuff to continue building up this team in terms of depth. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.